is then,
Oh, John,
yes. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 6:58. I got.
I think it's 7.
Close enough for government work, right?
Right.
There you go.
I was just
All
saying.
right, we don't have any alternates, so we don't have to worry about that. And we did add one addition to the agenda, okay? And that would be item 7.2 IWWC 2425-15. We'll talk about that when we get to it.
Okay.
Okay. Any communication or correspondence?
No, not tonight.
None? Okay. Audience of citizens, do we have anybody here? No? Okay. So, first thing on item number 6 is the approval of the meeting minutes. And that was the meeting minutes of, let me see, I think it was last month.
February 2nd, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
February 3rd. Yeah,
motion to approve them.
I'll make that motion.
All right, second. Ron, all in
Ron seconded
favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. So, yeah, that was February 3rd, 2025. The minutes. Okay, new business. We're going to take this application, item 7.1. This is new business. The application of USS Vineyard Solar LLC for site improvements associated with the construction of a ground-mounted solar array at 468 Route 87. And so, yes. So you want to fill us in a little bit, Isabel?
Yes, so this is, let me see, an application for, as John just said, a ground-mounted solar array. It was approved back in April of last year by the Planning and Zoning Commission, and it's now coming to wetlands for some impacts to the upland review area. The solar panels themselves will be on a field which is behind the vineyard there. And there's an existing farm road currently that goes up to the field, but it needs substantial improvement before it can be utilized for the solar project. We do have Pat Lord from GZA here as well to speak to the project. If you'd like to give a little bit of background information on the specifics of.
Sure, Isabel, thank you. My name is Patrick Lord. I'm with GZA Geoenvironmental. We're the environmental consultant hired for the project. That included the wetlands delineation of the property and the proposed project area, and preparing the permit application for the site. As Isabel said, there's an existing access road that goes over, I believe it's Collins Brook. And what they want to do with the road is just improve it by improving the road base. So just adding some material and making sure it's sturdy for vehicles to travel in and out. Most of that work will be. Did you want to pull up a site plan, Isabel?
Yes, yeah, I've got the application here. I'm just
Can you
looking
excuse me
for
for a
it in
moment?
my.
I apologize. Excuse me for a moment.
Let me see. Too many windows open. Let me share my screen here. Just to give everyone some context. Okay, so this is the overview of the site. And if there's a specific page, Patrick, that you'd like me to scroll to, let me know.
Probably the sheet plan. So it would be sheet 104 of the plans. So that's showing. Would it be easier for me to share my screen?
Whichever is easier for you would be completely fine. If you have it on
I do.
a better format, that would work.
Okay. And how do I do that?
There should be a button available to you down at the bottom in the middle. It's green.
Okay. All right. Let me know if everyone can see that.
We can see it.
Yep.
Okay. So the proposed work limits are this blue line here. So this is the existing access road leading up to the vineyard. The upland review areas are within this shading. There's obviously a large wetland complex associated with the brook here and on this side of the road. There's no proposed improvements to this a larger culvert crossing. They do want to replace this 18-inch CMP that collects water that comes off as sheet flow from the vineyard and the hillside with a 30-inch, just so it can handle larger storms. That's what the engineer came up with. So the existing road ends just at the edge of this upland review area here. And what's going to happen is when they build the solar array, they obviously have to get that power to the grid. So to minimize impacts, what they're proposing is to embed an underground wire within the road base itself. So what that's going to do is limit any, digging in wetlands or anything else. Before the project, obviously they're going to set up appropriate erosion sediment controls, which include silt fence and like a biofilter wattle material. I can go to, let's see. So these are some of the, well, this will give you an idea. The solar array is going to be here, the upland review area from this wetland in that corner is here. There's another wetland in this corner. So the upland review area is here for that. So the solar array is going to be outside the upland review area itself. So here you can see this will be new roadway leading up to the solar array with all the electrical components that are needed to transfer the power. So from here to the end of the road, that's where the improvements are going to be. They're also proposing, I can go to a different plan set. There's an existing kind of like drainage swale that's on this side of the road. And they're proposing to make some improvements on that with some riprap, and they're proposing a small drainage here. So this portion will catch any water coming on this side of the hillside and direct it towards the wetland area.
Are there any details in the packet about what that drainage ditch is and also the duck bank section through the road?
Sure. Yep. That sheet, like in the 400 series, So this is give you an idea of here's the upland review area. So they're gonna start creating improvements to the drainage swale here, and all this work will be outside the upland review area until they get to this point here. So a small portion, not even of this one, but of this inside swale will be within the upland review area. So let me get you to the 400 pages. These are the proposed stormwater basins for the field. They did a really good job with providing a lot of detail on this. So
I have a question for you.
sure.
The solar panels will produce a total of 999 kilowatts, right? According to
They-
your memo.
Correct. So that's under the threshold for the Connecticut Siting Council.
Okay.
Oversight.
An average house, according to what I found out, and maybe I'm wrong, but an average house takes what is it? Hang on a minute. I got the number here someplace. It uses 877 kilowatt hours per month. So that means that there isn't that much power produced in these things. Or unless my numbers are wrong.
There is a representative here from U.S. Solar.
Yeah,
Dan
I can
Sapler.
answer that, Patrick. Yeah, thank you. My name is Dan Sapler. I'm here. I'm a manager at US Solar. So the way to think about the generation is actually in kilowatt hours, not megawatts AC. So this will actually produce about 2.1 million kilowatt hours throughout the year. So there is a pretty significant demand from the state also to go renewable. And so this size project actually produces enough energy for us to be willing to develop it. So I hope that answers your question.
According to what you said in the beginning of the program that you gave us, it said that it was 999 kilowatt hour or kilowatts total. And now
Yes,
is that
that-
it's megawatts?
It's confusing. It's confusing. Yeah, so it's just below a megawatt of electricity. But kilowatt hours produced is actually a different method of electric measurement and generation. You can kind of think of it with rough math as essentially just multiplying the AC value, maybe the DC value by 2, and then you'll get your yearly production in kilowatt hours. So that's how utilities use it as well, and produce their measurements.
Okay. So it's producing one heck of a lot of power. And I looked at your picture there. How much area does it take in square feet?
It's 7 acres. I don't know what that is in square feet. I could do some quick math though.
It's gonna be 7 acres?
So you have one area that's going to be 2.9 acres here on, I guess that'd be the west,
Okay.
and 4.5, I would say, on the east here. So 4, 5, 6.
I guess
Oh,
that has,
7.4?
begs the question, how much runoff is this going to generate?
Exactly.
From rainstorms, and water, going into the wetlands. I mean, because it's not going to be absorbed by the ground like it normally would.
Yeah, hey everyone. This is Eric Elliott with Westwood Professional Services. I'm the lead civil designer for this project. Working with US Solar for a long time here, and the GZA team on this project for several years. So generally speaking, can give a high-level overview of the stormwater practices behind solar projects, and this will be during permanent conditions, kind of during the operations of the project. So for this project in particular, we are on pretty flat slopes where the project is located. And the panels themselves, as you can see here in the image, don't cover the entirety of the 7 acres. That 7 acres is the fenced area. So the majority of the project will actually be vegetated in a meadow grass condition. So the only added impervious area would be the access road and the equipment pad, which is right at the end of the access road there.
It looks like it's on the side of a hill though, based on the contour, the top of in the side of a hill based on the contours.
Yep, there's a moderate slope here, kind of where the hammer is located, but the southern portion of the project here is kind of on the top of that hill.
Yeah.
There, are there any wetlands nearby? Because the one you talked about in your program here was that there was a forested area that was had some wetlands in it. How far is that piece of property from the solar panels?
Unmute myself. So there's just the edge of a wetland you can see here. So here's the 100-foot upland review area on this end. And if we go, so it's well beyond the 100-foot upland review area there. And let me see. I got another drawing here. Excuse me. Probably the closest wetland to the solar array area there.
Yeah, Patrick, I can confirm that wetland we're
the other one's
looking
up
at
over
is,
this way here.
yeah, the one on the sheet here,
Over here.
you're just showing was 215 feet away from the fence line.
This one here.
Yep, that's right.
It does look pretty close.
Here's for scale. Here's the 100-foot upland review area. So
Yeah, okay.
given that, probably about, like you said, 200, a little bit more.
So this venture is for financial program? Because I guess you're selling it back to the electric company, is that correct? It won't be going in directly into any homes. Or will it? On that property, at least.
Yeah,
I
so
don't have the answer, Dan.
we're participating in Eversource's what is called their Shared Clean Energy Facility Program, SCEF. Use the acronym SCEF. So it'll be fed directly to Eversource, and then what Eversource, how they decide to distribute that electricity from there is up to them. There are not any homes or anything on the property that would be designated off takers, but yeah, leave it at that.
Okay, very good.
I'd like to go back to square one and just take it from Route 87, the access road up to where the panels are located. What kind of a distance is that in miles? It looks like maybe 3/4, or looks like it's quite a ways from the state highway.
I don't know that distance off the top of my head. Let's see. I can pull up an overview here.
Well, can we just run it from the state highway up to where the panels are, just slowly? Yeah,
Right,
okay.
so-
Okay, so it looks like it crosses wetlands, the road crosses wetlands halfway up to the panels, roughly. Yeah, that spot right there where your hand is?
Yes,
Or the-
that's an existing access road, so
Okay, but as far as improving the road is concerned, where do you start work on improving the road?
from the entrance.
Okay, okay, so all these wetlands would be handled that we're looking at in the middle, okay. And, do you think it's about a half a mile back to the, roughly just ballpark, half a mile back to the panels from, Route 87 or?
I couldn't give you a
Okay, so it's all the way at the back of the property, right?
Yes,
Okay,
not all the way back, but to about right here.
okay, so the panels don't show on this plan,
No, would you like to see that?
okay. So then it goes right, that parcel goes right up to the top of that hill, okay, gotcha.
So this
Okay,
plan
and
shows,
today we're really just receiving the plan, the
Correct.
application. Correct?
a lot of good
Yes,
questions, a lot of good
correct.
questions.
So one other question I have, and it kind of goes back to that question about what's the duck bank section. I looked through through the submittal. I didn't see a duck bank section. I guess I'm kind of concerned. I know, Patrick, you mentioned initially that, the duck bank was going to be underneath the road, and looking at the plan, it looks like it's actually just off the side of the road, and except at the actual stream crossing. I guess, I mean, for me, that's the impact in the wetland is, or in the upland review area is that duck bank. I'm concerned about the section as it crosses that current culvert. The topography is not super clear in there if you're gonna have code required cover. If this is a massive duck bank, I'm really concerned about that impact.
Eric, did you have anything to add to that? I can try to
Yep,
pull up
I
the sheet on
I can
that.
chime in there briefly.
Hmm.
So we haven't done final electrical design for this project yet, and again, I'm a civil engineer by trade here, so some of my knowledge on the exact feature of the duct bank may be a little lacking, but we've not performed final electrical design for this project yet. Typically, where we wouldn't be crossing the wetlands, we would be running the MV direct buried next to the access road, so not within a duct bank. We would then run it into a duct bank beneath the section of the road where we're crossing that existing wetland. So it'd pass below the access road section here and above the existing culverts.
So, yeah, so there's no direct wetland impact, so they're not gonna be digging the duck bank within the wetland itself. It's gonna be within the existing road footprint. Would that be correct, Eric?
No, that is correct.
So I guess if you go to the plan, that says differently, I guess is my concern. And also when you're going over that culvert based on the inverts and maintaining minimum cover, I'm assuming this duck bank is gonna be probably a 3/2 or 3/3 of probably 5-inch conduit. I don't think you guys have the clearance.
Trying to find a cross section where they show the roadway. Did you know what page that was on, Eric?
The cross section of the roadway. I guess, Ian, one clarification point on the duct bank. Typically for a project this size, we would just have one MV cable running from the project transformer to the POI location.
So it wouldn't be necessarily a whole bank of wires, it'd just be one single wire.
Yep, that's correct. So we would collect DC at some string inverters, and then you would bring that to a medium voltage transformer up at the project location.
Does that kind of answer your question, sir? So it won't be like a duct bank, it'll just be one single wire carrying the
You
energy.
direct burying wire and not putting it in conduit?
Kind of depends on requirements from the utility or the owner if US Solar had preferences, but yes, typically you direct bury. Sometimes you'll put it in a thermal bedding.
I mean, I think before I could weigh in on in particular, that wetland in the upland review area, I think that needs to be thought through, because given that culvert and the cover, I don't think you guys have code required depth.
Okay, any
Others.
other questions?
Yeah, I have one more.
Okay,
How much of this property is gonna be owned by the panel company? Is the access road gonna be owned by the panel company and plus where the panels are located?
No, we won't own any portion of the,
And so where the panels are located, that's something you're gonna pay rent to the owner of the land for the use of that land?
that is correct.
And who is that? Who owns that property?
That is Walter Tabor.
Right, okay. And when is this project supposed to go online, just tentatively, when?
Well, we'd like to commence construction sometime in 2025. So that means it would go online sometime in 2026.
From what my understanding, there's chemicals and, lead and cadmium in the solar arrays. What's the possibility of any of those chemicals leaking out, from hail damage or any other type of damage?
I don't know if Westwood has a answer for that, but the panel manufacturers that we partner with have to go through a leaching requirement study. So they're actually regulated by the US government and before we can build them. And then they need to adhere to the leaching requirements that the government instills. So
So do they actually leach?
no,
do-
they
okay.
don't.
So, has there been incidents where hail has damaged them and there has been leakage or?
I can't speak to any from our company's history.
Okay. And the other thing about what is the lifespan of the solar array for the equipment?
Roughly, about 20 years. There's a degradation rate of about 0.5% per year for the panels. So, after 10, 20 years, they'll be operating at, roughly about 85 to 90% efficiency.
And then what happens to them after that?
They will either be recycled or, usually recycled. I can't recall what the Connecticut state requirement is from a recycling standpoint, but we adhere to any recycling code that's administered at the time of recycling. So that's a little ways out, but
And who pays for the recycling?
the owner of the array would. So we would.
So if you're still in business, is there a guarantee? You could be out of business by then, and then what would happen? Who would pick up the cost?
So we are essentially, it's a loaded question. If we were to go out of business, this array would be sold for pennies on the dollar, and a solar developer would be lining up at the door to purchase this thing for pennies on the dollar. So it will be.
I asked because, I know of towns where this has actually happened, where they've actually been stuck with the recycling costs. So, is there some guarantee you can give us or a bond that you can put up before you install this array? To say you'll cover the recycling costs of this and dismantling of it and any damage that might happen to the land?
We can definitely look into that, for sure.
Okay.
I have one more question. Kip Garrett, sure. From, the highway, Route 87, will a panel field be, will you be able to see it from the highway? Or is it far back, and is there woodlands and so forth, so that it wouldn't be seen from the highway?
I don't believe, because that's set back a little ways, and there is the forest from, the vineyard, and I don't
Okay,
think that would be
so
visible from the highway.
do you want to guess how far back it is, like a half a mile, a quarter?
Yeah, I took a quick measurement off of the town's GIS just to give some context, and as a straight shot, as the crow flies, it's about 2,100 feet. So the road itself is not as straight. It would probably be closer to 3,000 feet for the actual traveled path, and I can try to take that measurement as well off of the plans that we have in the office for the next time we have a meeting to discuss this.
Okay.
The field itself right now, I don't believe is visible from Route 87. If you go to Hearthstone Winery there.
Right, okay.
Another question, are these solar panels fixed or will they follow the sun?
I believe it's a fixed array, correct?
No, so we're going to be utilizing a single axis tracker system. So yeah, they'll be following the sun.
Okay, that's good.
Yep. Yeah, that increases efficiency. So for sure, it is good.
Okay, I think what we have to do is set up a site walk to take a look at things, and anybody have any suggestions for a date? I can't make it this next Saturday. I've got a tag sale at the senior center, which we're working on. But is there any possibility we can make it on Sunday? Does everybody get back from church maybe about 3 o'clock or so?
John, is there a possibility of doing it a weeknight now that we have a little bit more sun on our side?
Yeah, maybe like a Monday.
A Monday? That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mondays are pretty good.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
What about 5 o'clock on Monday or 4 o'clock? Can everybody make it at 4 o'clock?
I can do either one.
Or
Yeah.
This would be on the 14th.
Yeah, yes, I think the 14th would be good. Yep.
So next Monday.
Mm-hmm. 14th at 4, right?
That works for me.
Okay,
okay,
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep. And we'll all get together on that Monday.
John, do we need to formally accept the application?
Oh, I think did we accept that, Isabel, already?
We didn't have a motion to accept it.
Oh, okay, all right,
So I make a motion to accept the,
all right, second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, thank you. Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen, and hopefully, can you be at the site walk?
Yes, I would. I'll plan on being at the site walk.
Okay, great, so we'll see you there.
All right, great. See you then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Yep, you too.
Aye.
yeah.
And I will say in advance for everyone that it is fairly steep up that existing drive at certain points. So I will take a look, copious photos, and if anyone's not able to attend for some reason, just let me know, and we can either arrange something or I will document what we do have for the site walk so that everyone is informed.
Great.
Isabel, real quick, will you be bringing the site plans, or should I plan on printing out more?
I think we do. Did we get the final copy, Mary Kay, of the site plans in the office?
Yeah, I have 2 copies.
Okay, so we will bring one copy when we do go out to the site walk.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Just one clarification, did somebody say early on that the Planning and Zoning Commission has approved this already?
They did, yes, they approved it
Okay.
in April of last year, actually.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Hmm. Very good.
Thank you.
Yep, okay. All right, next item is, item 7.2, IWWC 2425-15. Let's see, what was that? You want to give us a background on that one?
Yes, so this is also just on the agenda for receipt tonight. It's an application from the town for, let me see. Pull it up here. We just received it today. There's an existing culvert that's in need of repair, and the current proposal is to insert a new pipe into the existing culvert, and then fill the remaining gap with, as the Public Works Director described it to me, a flowable gravel that solidifies, and the new insert itself will be smooth and fit into the existing culvert.
Where is this culvert?
Let me see. Apologize, I have too many screens open. Uh, it's adjacent to 34 Chesbrough Road. So we did, I think, sent it out in an email this afternoon after we received it. But let's see. I can share my screen with everyone just to give a little bit of context here.
Just before the airline, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep, so this is 34 and 32 Chesbrough right here.
Oh, Chesbrough, okay.
Are those pipes actually 60 inches in diameter? That's a pretty big pipe.
Yeah, I have not seen them myself yet in person,
Oh,
but I'll be going out this week to take a look.
very good.
So Isabel, that's one of my main concerns is, has there been any calculations done from taking a 60-inch pipe down to the 54 or 52 that they're proposing to confirm that it's works?
I'm not sure what has been done in terms of hydrologic calculations, but I think that our Public Works Director, I asked if she would be available to discuss the application in more detail at our next meeting and also potentially at a site walk, because I did feel that this was something the commission would like to see in person, and she's said she'll be available really any weekday afternoon for a site walk.
Okay.
It's being reduced from 60 inches to what, 50?
It is, so it's a twin 60-inch corrugated metal pipe, and it's being reduced to 54 inches.
Okay. Yeah, that's something that definitely should be checked, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Hydraulic capacity.
if you zoom out, it's a pretty big water or wetland ahead of it, so I'm just a little nervous about.
Yeah.
It is, yeah, it's a brook that goes through there. I was actually out recently for a project at 32 Chesbrough, which is outside of the review area, but it has some good flow.
So I guess Isabel, we just gotta accept this one, is that correct? Or accept the permit?
Yes, yeah, so it's just on for receipt tonight, and then if you'd like to see it at a site walk, we could potentially do it the same day. If everyone has time, either before or after the solar panel site walk, or another day would be fine as well.
Yeah, so right after the solar panel will be fine.
Yeah.
Works for me.
Yep, very good.
So
Okay,
I make a motion to receive this permit.
Second,
all in favor?
Aye.
aye.
So moved. Okay. Uh, I understand it's in pretty bad shape, that dock.
Yes. Oh, are you talking about 144?
Yeah, right.
Let's see.
So we'll take a look at it. Okay, anyway, Let's go under old business, item 8, IWWC 2425-09. We just did that. Okay. Uh, Audience of citizens, we got any, buddy that wants to say anything?
Oh, actually, I do have, sorry to go off track. I do have an update for 2425-09 for the old business.
Oh, okay.
It has been tabled a number of times before the Wetlands Commission because the application itself has kind of been in flux. It did not receive approval from LMAC as it was originally proposed. The dock was actually put in place prior to the applicants understanding the process. So it is currently in place. It has not received approval from LMAC or from Board of Selectmen, nor from the commission. The original dock that was installed was too large to receive approval. It was not in accordance with the LMAC guidelines, I believe. The applicants have since removed that dock, but replaced it with another floating dock of the same make, essentially. But it is smaller, so it does meet the 100-foot, it is 100 square feet. I have instructed the applicants to apply again to LMAC and Board of Selectmen, and I would recommend that the commission table this tonight until we see what direction that's going in. I'm not sure if the new dock is in conformance with their guidelines. It is, as I said previously, it's a floating dock, so it has already been installed. It may need to be removed depending on whether or not it can receive approval from LMAC and Board of Selectmen. And so I would request the commission table it to see what direction Board of Selectmen and LMAC ultimately go with it, if we can get an application into them. If we do not, then I will order it to be removed.
Isabel, are we approaching, I know there's so many times we can table without taking action. Would this be the last time we can table it, or?
Yeah, I believe it is, but we have not considered this to be a significant activity, so we're not under the same timeline that we typically have for a public hearing or a significant activity application, where we have specific dates for the public hearing portion of the process. And I will add, wetlands has no automatic approval, so that's not something we need to worry about as well. But I think this is the last time that we should table this application.
Okay, so do we have a motion to table it?
I'll make that motion to table it.
Second, I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so the next item, audience of citizens, which we don't have any. How about commission open discussion? Anybody want to say anything about anything? How about UConn?
Yes, sir. I could care less about watching the men's game tonight, but the ladies did a great job, UConn ladies.
Wow, you're not kidding.
They've got a lot of good horses, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And they know how to use them.
All right, item 11, the administration reports. I think we've got a couple of them. Do you want to fill us in, Isabel, on those?
Yes, so we have two administrative approvals. 27 Oakwood Lane. I granted administrative approval for an addition that was 20 by 24, I believe, just over 500 square feet. It's an addition attached to an existing single-family house, and it is about 80 feet from where I suspect the wetlands start. We don't have anything marked in that area, but when we see something that has any kind of hydrophytic vegetation, or that looks like suspected wetlands, then I tend to treat it as wetlands, just in an abundance of caution. The addition itself is a good distance away from the area in question, and I do not believe it will have any greater than a minimal impact. on the wetlands. And then
Where was-
additionally,
Where was that?
it was 27 Oakwood Lane.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, so there are marked wetlands in the back, and then there's an area that is closer to the house between that and the adjacent property that I believe is likely wetlands. And then additionally, IWWC 2223-30, we did receive an application modification, which I approved administratively after speaking with John for verification. We previously approved some permeable pavers and drainage work at right away on Sleepy Hollow Road. And additionally, the commission has approved improvements to the lake wall on the adjacent property. And in the process of reconstructing the lake wall, some concerns were raised regarding erosion from the end of the drainage swale and catch basin, which is adjacent to that wall. And so they did apply to install some small pavers that are designed to prevent erosion to that wall.
Is that Jim Blair's job?
Yes, yeah, right adjacent to Jim Blair's job.
Okay.
Okay, very good. So do I hear a motion to adjourn? All right, second.
I'll second
Yeah.
it.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Hi.
Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you all at the Monday.
Oh, Monday, 4 o'clock.